like something said, you can't push this down anymore. You can't pretend like everything's okay anymore. You can't gaslight yourself out of this situation anymore. You can't drink this away, eat this away, whatever this away. Hey, my name is Melissa Lane, and I'm obsessed with all things self-empowerment, self-development, spirituality, and holistic healing to help you navigate this thing called life in a more fulfilled way. Ever felt like you missed the class on how life works? So did I. I'm just a regular girl who grew up not understanding how to create success, where to find fulfillment, or how to live a life that I actually enjoyed. So I went on a journey of self-discovery, and it led me to the realization that everything about living a fulfilling life can be learned. And so the Lifecraft podcast was born. Here, you'll learn how to stop letting life just happen to you and how to begin crafting a life you can actually get excited about. No topic is off limits here, from the scientific to the mystical and everything in between. Difficulties, failures, growth, victories, and more are all real life happenings that myself and our guests will discuss. Think of this as your library to life, where you can tune in whenever you feel like you have no idea what you're doing. Get ready to be challenged and encouraged to craft a life you're actually excited to wake up to. This is the Lifecraft podcast. It's a beautiful Tuesday afternoon. I am looking out on the farm and I see that there are 2 warthogs in the field across from me. Farm life, you guys. They are big and they are random, and it's just great to have them here listening to me now. I was going to release a different episode today. I was going to release 2 different episodes today. The first one was with one of the most amazing people I have ever spoken to for an hour in my life. And the audio quality was just not good enough to be able to publish. Out of respect for her as well, we had load shedding troubles on both sides, and it was just a whole mess of things, and we just couldn't publish that episode. And I decided that we would hopefully re-record. And the next one was, I wanted to just share one of the episodes that I always have as a backup, but I decided not to. I want to make this a little bit more personal today, and I want to talk about something that really came up for me this year, and maybe it's something you need to hear too. I absolutely believe in that. I believe that the audience of Lifecraft are people who want to not just grow and be in self-development and personal development, all of those things, but they want to become something. They want to be a different person. It's not so much about the things you get as the person you become on this journey. And so I felt called to share my own journey with you, and maybe just highlight something for you, maybe just highlight a different way of looking at things or a different way of showing up for yourself. And that is, what parts of yourself are you hiding that are actually the parts of you that are the most powerful? So that was my journey for 2022, and you'll see how that ties in to how Lifecraft will be evolving, because I've evolved in these past couple of months. So this year I had all planned out. Let me just get that straight. Like, I've been planning 2022 since September, October of 2021. Yes, that is, like you heard right. And now looking back at it, I'm smiling and I'm kind of giggling in myself, because the universe, source, God, whatever you want to call it, was just like, yeah, sure. Okay, make your plans, honey. I've got different ones for you. You're going to contract first before you expand, hun. You are not going anywhere. And so I was really enthusiastic when I started this year, and believe you me, the 2nd of January just knocked me off my feet. Bam, emotional stuff came up, relationship issues came up, how I relate with people, the toxic relationships I had in my life, how I created the toxic relationships in my life. It drained me so much that I didn't have any energy for my business. Heavy things emotionally that just welled up to the surface, and it was like, the best way that I could describe it was, I couldn't push it down this time. You know what that feels like, don't you? when you've got these emotions coming up, these traumas that were triggered, and they come up, and it's like you're that 2-year-old again, or 3-year-old, or that scared 7-year-old, or that hurt 9-year-old again. And for some other reason, it's like you can't push it down. That's what happened to me at the beginning of the year. So yes, I did have burnout, which I shared in episode 78 and 80, if you want to go and listen to that journey of mine. But this was different. This was a spiritual thing. This was me having to go really deep into myself for a while again. Now, the reason why I didn't freak out when I realized this happened is it's happened to me before. The first time it happened in 2012, there was something that happened in my life that completely shook me. And that was reading a book by Louise Hay. And there was a practice in the book that an adult gave me and said that I should do. And that practice was mirror work, where you go and you stand in front of a mirror and you say to yourself while looking in your eyes, Melissa, I love you. I really, really love you, while looking into your own eyes. That moment broke me in a way that shattered a paradigm in my mind. I couldn't say that to myself. I couldn't look into my own eyes in 2012 and just say that simple sentence. I couldn't even lie. I couldn't even lie to myself, because it's so powerful looking into your own eyes. And if you've done any of Louise Hay's work, know Louise Hay's work, read her books, any of that, you know that mirror work that is so key. And I still do it till this day. When I walk past the mirror, I'll say, Melissa, I love you. I really, really love you. But now it's easy. Then it broke me, and I ended up crying. I ended up throwing the book. I ended up wanting to break the mirror. I was so angry, and I was filled with so many emotions that I used to suppress. And that was the first time that happened to me. After that one experience, it was like I couldn't suppress those emotions anymore. It was the first time in my life that I realized how angry I was, how ill I was treated as a child, that what I was going through in my house was actually abuse, that I wasn't okay, and that I needed help. And that was the catalyst for change. I am the woman I am today because of that moment. I know it in my soul. And then I went through a moment like that again in about 2015. Yeah, 2015, 2016, around there. I had another moment like that where I realized that I wanted to change my whole life. I didn't like who I was. I didn't like the relationships that I was in. I didn't like the career I had. I didn't like the life I created. And the best way that I could put it was, I felt like Elizabeth Gilbert in Eat, Pray, Love, that moment that she said she actively participated in every single aspect of this life, and it made her so unhappy. And I had that moment on the banks of the Vaal River near the town of Parys. I was there in a little chalet, and I said, God, source, universe, whatever you want to call it, I don't even care. If there is something bigger than me out there that is listening to me, I need help again. I need to shift. This is time. I can't be the person I am anymore. It's not working. It feels like this role that I'm playing is just killing me. It's suffocating me, and I can't do it anymore. And I'm open and willing to change. And that prayer set me into the direction that I have been in for the past couple of years, that just changed my life in phenomenal ways. And with every step of those journeys, those moments where the emotions that I used to suppress, the things that used to be okay for me, the things that I kind of could ignore and just like not think about or deal with later or say it's not such a big deal, those things just stayed at the surface. It's like something said, you can't push this down anymore. You can't pretend like everything's okay anymore. You can't gaslight yourself out of this situation anymore. You can't drink this away, eat this away, whatever this away. You can't lie this away, Melissa. This is your opportunity for change. Are you going to take it? And that's how I felt at the beginning of this year. And the reason why I kind of went into it fully was because I felt it before. So I don't know where you are in your path. But if you might be on a journey like that, I want to urge you to step into that river of change, like Joe Dispenza calls it. Because every single time I did, every single time I said yes. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know what was required of me. I didn't know what changes were going to take place. But by the third time, man, I was ready. And this time around, it was all about relationships. So relationships, not just with my intimate partner, but all types of relationships with family and friends, and my relationship with nature, my relationship with my body, my relationship with food, my relationship with myself. I had to really look at that. And if you looked and if you understand, or if you're interested in astrology and cosmology, you would see that sector in my life was actually lit up energetically, which I only saw months afterwards, because I'm not a boffin with that yet. I'm still learning, but it was really clear to me that my inner world, my mental space, and my relationships were a big focus. And I had to go on that journey. So it sounds really idyllic to say these things, but I just want to interject here. It's still going on that journey while you still need to pay the bills, while you still have a partner, while you still have 2 dogs to take care of, while you still have friends to visit, while you still have responsibilities. So it's not just like this amazing, I'm just going to go live in the mountains and forget about everything and work on myself. No, it's really difficult if you're still in real life needing to go through these things. And I just want to say it out loud because I don't think people acknowledge that. If you still have bills to pay and people to take care of and kids and work and a boss and all of these things and grocery shopping, and you're going through the spiritual kind of, I don't even want to call it an awakening. I don't know what to call it because I don't like putting those labels on it, but you're doing this inner work. It's tough. And I want to take a moment to acknowledge you, because no one acknowledges how we still in this world, still part of this matrix, quote unquote, and doing the inner work. And it can be tough. And it can really feel like just too much, which it did in a lot of moments for me. So I went on that journey and I started looking at how I relate to the world. And I had to go and look at where I learned how to relate to the world. And it wasn't the most healthy of beginnings. The patterns that have been ingrained in me, I know now, have been part of my lineage. They have been part of my lineage. The whole looking at men in a certain way, men are this, men are that, protect yourself, this, that. The feminine has been wounded in ways that we can't even imagine. And just not knowing how to even relate to my own masculinity, how to allow that to be part of me, because in my life, I grew up without a dad. I grew up without a man in the house, and it really does leave a little bit of an imbalance in your life. And I had to learn. I was like, oh, okay, it's time to look at that. I need to look at that. I need to go on that journey. And so I've been going on that journey to start healing that part of my life. It takes a lot out of you to still be a coach and still be present with people and still be a loving partner and still be a great friend and still be an awesome dog mom, still be a student of life and still do all of those things, and having to go really deep into growing up without a dad, healing those traumas, looking at that whole story, actually uncovering some really uncomfortable truths about that, and also healing the feminine lineage, looking at all of the women in my lineage and all of the pain and suffering that they just kind of handed over to me. So I did a lot of work that I do with my clients. I do a lot of trauma work. I move trauma out of the body, do a lot of yoga, breathing, cold showers, journaling, crying, spending time in nature, releasing, meditations. And one of the best things that I did was a plant medicine journey, really honoring my ancestors and where I came from, starting to heal those traumas, just taking my little inner child in my arms and telling her that she's safe and that I've got this, and really meaning it for the first time in my life. And that was really transformational for me. Learning how to relate differently to my partner, learning how to relate differently in a business sense, learning these things. And one of the things that came up for me was the things that I used to kind of hide, the things that I would not portray in a very public way were actually my points of power, the points of my life that I was kind of hiding, that I didn't want to share. Maybe because I'm a Cancer, I don't know, but I'm private and I didn't want to share these things. But those things were the powerful, powerful parts of my journey. Understanding my natal chart blew me away. Understanding plant medicine and the healing modality that could be blew me away. Getting into yoga, while so many people in my life don't understand it and think it's woohoo and think it's this and that, really going deep into that practice, it blew me away. Being the super spiritual girl that I actually am, but being it publicly, owning it, saying this is me, this has always been me, I've just been suppressing it, healed me in a way that I cannot explain in one little podcast. So today I want to invite you into the space that I am in as well, of looking at where you are hiding parts of yourself, while those parts of you are actually your points of power. The things that have allowed me to become the woman that I am today, the woman that I'm still like evolving into, but someone who, when I go to bed, I love myself. Do I love all aspects of my life? No, it's a polarity planet, it's Earth, I'm not gonna. But I absolutely love my spirit. I've been able to start healing my inner child. I've been able to look at my traumas. I've been able to reimagine relationships because of these things, because of these spiritual practices. There are parts of you that you might be hiding. Parts of you that you might feel ashamed of. Like, I never wanted to talk about growing up without a dad because people automatically think, oh, daddy issues. Guess what? I have mommy issues, not daddy issues as much. So that wasn't true. But I grew up with all of these things being said to me. So I just wanted to keep it private because that had nothing to do with the woman that I am today. But it did. It formed me. It made me be able to speak to a certain bunch of people and say, I know you and I see you and you matter too, and I understand your pain in a way that other people can't. Just like you. You might have a story and a journey of your own, and there might be parts of that you either aren't looking at, either aren't allowing to come up to be healed, suppressing, like I told you I used to do with a lot of my emotions and things that came up. But I want to encourage you, when you get to that stage in your life, you might be there today, it might come up in a couple of months or maybe even years, where those things are bubbling to the surface so much that you can't suppress them anymore. I want you to remember this message, that might be your point of power wanting to come out. We're really scared of our power. We're scared of the powerful, beautiful human beings that we really are. And I want to encourage you to maybe start thinking that your power is safe, that you being a whole integrated human being without that old story of trauma, without all of the baggage that your lineage has put onto you, well meaning, I'm not like, you understand if you do this healing work, it's not to judge your lineage, it's just to be aware of what they gave you that you didn't choose to receive, with patterns and things like that. But I really want you to look at that. I want you to say, where am I suppressing my power? Where am I hiding parts of myself like I did, that I'm this little spiritual girl and I was just so hyper-focused on self-development and doing that I wasn't becoming who I needed to be. Now I integrate the two. So Lifecraft will always be a self-development and self-empowerment podcast, but that includes spirituality. That includes talking about things that might have been taboos, like plant medicine, and seeing all of these amazing studies that are coming out around that. That might be tapping into things that can actually help you work with the energies around you instead of against them, like astrology, like human design, like all of these things that we'll be tapping into. Expert guests that I'm going to have on Lifecraft to share these amazing things with you. I hope that something that I said in this podcast made you realize that your power is safe, that it's safe to step into your power in whatever way you feel called to, and that hiding parts of you will never, ever, ever allow you to feel whole and happy about yourself. There's no need to hide the parts of you that light you up, that make you smile, that you're proud of, that you overcame, that you were a hero in. I won't be hiding those parts of myself with you anymore. It feels uncomfortable even to say I was hiding them, but that's the truth. I don't care. I'm a very private person. Those who have been following me for years know they like... I know. I meet some of you when I travel around, and then you're like, I don't really know a lot about you except for you live on a farm, you have 2 dogs, and all of your health coaching stuff. And that might change a little bit more. I might be showing you a little bit more about the things that I do, and a little bit more about my spiritual side and the practices that have really changed me in a way that I smile most of the times now. My set point is joy and peace and fulfillment. Well, I'm still on a journey to fulfillment, but that's my set point. My standards have been raised for how life can feel, and I want to share those things with you. So, what is your point of power that you might be hiding, that might look like a gnarly backstory or something quirky or woohoo that you enjoy and that lights you up, that you might be hiding from people around you? Maybe this is your community. Maybe I am the person you can talk to that about, connect with in that way. Reach out via DM. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast, I love having you be subscribed because we've got so many amazing people coming up in the next couple of months, and I don't want you to miss a single episode. If something that I said stood out for you today, please share it with me. I'd love to know. Thank you for listening to this very vulnerable episode that I am so happy that I got to share with you. You matter. There's a reason why you're on this earth, and even if that reason is just to freaking enjoy yourself while you're here, that's reason enough to be here. Stop doing so much. That's my message to you today. And lean into becoming and just being, and really not shying away from what makes you powerful. Have a beautiful day. So much love. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode and taking the time to invest in yourself and in your future. If you loved this episode, be sure to share it with us by leaving a positive review or tagging us in a post or in your stories. Share one thing that stood out or inspired you to live your everyday life better. This helps us create more meaningful episodes for you to enjoy. If you're not already following us on social media, be sure to follow @TheLifecraft for more inspiration and tools to help you live your most powerful life. And remember, you always have the power to craft a better life for yourself, and we are here to help you do just that. We'll connect again in the next episode, and until then, keep creating a life that you're excited to wake up to. We enjoy bringing you interviews from experts and everyday people so that they can talk about their experiences and share information, tips, and what has worked for them on their journey towards a better life. However, remember that the opinions or advice of our guests and myself, the host, should not be taken as personal, actionable advice and is given as general information and education only. Please always remember to consult a qualified professional before implementing any medical, financial, legal, or other advice that you believe might work for you. Lifecraft is not responsible nor liable for your decision when implementing anything you hear on the podcast. Please listen and act responsibly.
The opinions of our guests do not represent the opinions or views of Lifecraft or Melissa Lane personally and are meant as information and general education only.